Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back with another video. Hopefully I won't have any embarrassing moments when I normally have in my videos, so hopefully I won't lose my nerves as I often do. Anywho, so I'm finally back with some of my charitable goals, which I was talking about a couple of days ago. But yeah, some of the groups I want to help and how I hope to help them. I think there are a few things I forgot to include, and hopefully I'll remember them. And anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. Here goes. So as I say, this is continuing on from parts 1 and 2. If you haven't already checked them out, please check them out, and hopefully you'll enjoy them. So here goes. So number 21, I support a school for children, mainly children with dyslexia in Kenya, and I hope to expand that and hopefully achieve some success with supporting that school, and then hopefully in the future also expand to other schools across Africa with neurodiversity schools for children with dyslexia and autism and ADHD and other conditions like that across Africa. And hopefully I will support such like people with dyslexia and autism and that sort of thing across in terms of things like technology and that sort of thing. So hopefully they'll learn as much as possible to be empowered as much as possible, and hopefully they'll work with. So the school I support in Africa is called, or in Kenya more specifically, is called Rare Gem, and hopefully the Rare Gem school will work with schools across the rest of Africa, and also with schools across Asia and Ireland and around the world, all over the world, international dyslexia associations, even from America and places like that. Hopefully learn from them, and maybe even have mentors with dyslexia, either online or in the future, maybe even going into school and helping to mentor them, like people like Richard Branson or Jamie Oliver, people like that. Would be great to see them going in to mentor in these schools and hopefully helping them as much as possible. And I have a really quirky dream. I'd love to play football with people like Richard Branson, people like in Kenya, and also with the kids there playing football, and hopefully bringing some joy for a while, and then also hopefully helping them to learn about things like business, technology, S.T.E.M generally, and things like that. So also hopefully, as I say, they will work with schools in Asia as well, like Dyslexia Association of Singapore will hopefully work with Dyslexia Organisation Kenya. So hopefully the DOK, Dyslexia Organisation Kenya, will work with DAS, Dyslexia Association of Singapore, and things like that. So as many neurodiverse groups across Africa and also Asia hopefully will network together. So I'll say neurodiversity means obviously neuro means brain, and diversity means obviously diversity, or diverse means diversity. So it's basically people who have different learning styles, if you like dyslexia, ADHD, autism. That's all classed as, and that sort of thing is all classed as neurodiversity, being part of neurodiversity. So yeah, I'd love to support, I'd say, autistics in Africa to work for like there's a program from Microsoft, which and I.B.M and Dell and companies like that are working with neurodiverse people with dyslexia and autism and dyspraxia and conditions like that in America and elsewhere. So I'd love to see them expand that program to as many parts of Africa as possible, and hopefully if African countries could like work with Dell and Microsoft and people like that and companies like that, hopefully that can be expanded into Africa, so they will benefit themselves and their economies. Hope that made sense. As ever, please let me know what you think about each of my ideas. I forgot to say in the intro, and which ideas you didn't like and which ideas you did like and why, and what suggestions you would have, and I'll try and take them on board as best I can. Number 22, I'd love to help as many people around the world, basically, but especially, as I say, from Africa and Australasia, and indigenous people from Africa and Australasia and Asia and places like that. And I'd love to see indigenous Australasians be supported in like YouTubing, TikTok, social media generally, creating their own websites, supporting in politics, having more people in the police or in law generally, so they get more representation. Apologies if I'm repeating a lot of these points from previous videos, but for any new viewers or subscribers or whatever, hopefully this will be some interesting ideas for everyone, or even just recapping some of those ideas for myself and for others, and hopefully repeating them till they work or whatnot. Number 23, I'd love to support some of the poorest people around the world, homeless people, disabled people, and people with general disadvantages, and like provide like fundraise to provide water, access to water, food, shelter, training opportunities and electricity access for countries like Pakistan and Nigeria and other countries which lack access to the internet, even parts like India, parts of India, some of the poorest parts of India and Asia generally, and Africa as well. And indigenous Australasian communities, as I say, like supporting them with access to tech training and all sorts of things like that, and access to the internet as much as possible, and supporting them to improve their conditions and that sort of thing. And again, like maybe even homeless people, helping building shelter for homeless people, and even training like in tech and things like that around the world to hopefully help them to become part of the knowledge economy or whatnot, or the fourth industrial revolution, as people call it. Number 24, again, hopefully help people from Africa and Asia to network together as much as possible, so they can share that knowledge with each other and help each other as much as they can. Number 25, as I've often mentioned before, I'd love to support republics around the world and help them to be empowered and network together, and like just basically I'd love to come up with ideas to support republics as much as possible. I know I have a bit of a bias towards republics, but yeah, I'd love to support them as much as possible, and I'd love to have limited government as well, so people have more choices, but encourage people to be more empathetic when they're younger, so hopefully we won't need the governments or politicians quite as much, because people will learn to love and respect and support each other. I know that's probably very idealistic of me, but I'd love to have smaller government. And I know a lot of people, like say socialists, would love to see more higher taxes or controls or regulations, but I think it's better to see more people being charitable with each other and doing so off their own free will, rather than being forced to do so by governments. And I suppose a lot of people would have arguments against republics, saying that unfortunately I think they can still be quite expensive and have like a head of state who is still quite expensive in terms of things like the security or things like that. And some people say that republics can be more expensive than monarchy, but I don't think you really need, if Britain, say, became a republic, I don't think we would need a head of state or anything like that. I think that if the president, or sorry, in our case, the prime minister went overseas or whatever, you'd still have other politicians who could, you wouldn't need any more politicians or any more heads of state or anything like that to take over their role. So I hope that made sense. But as ever, I'd love to hear what you think, and you can always feel free to disagree. 26, I'd love to support countries that were colonized, and also countries that are like emerging economies, emerging markets, developing countries, basically. So a lot of time they're the same sort of thing, because I think colonization took a lot of wealth out of countries like India and China and places like that. So obviously they have to start from a lower level before they can grow. So in many ways, that's why they're developing countries as well as colonized countries. Normally those will be the same thing, but I think it'd be great, for instance, if they network together so they can empower each other, and that could hopefully help Asia and Africa to work together more and help each other and that sort of thing. Excuse me, sorry. Number 27, I'd love to have a list of the top people who support African countries or indigenous Australian communities or Native Americans or other disadvantaged groups. It'd be great to have a list of people who have done great work for those people. For instance, who brought tech training to parts to like indigenous Australasian or African communities and individuals and that sort of thing. And maybe they can work together as well. People from those communities, like indigenous Australasians working with indigenous Africans in technology and things like that. Excuse me. And also like politically supporting each other. Like I think we're stronger together. So I like to use that hashtag, stronger together, and that sort of thing. Number 28, hopefully, unfortunately, I know with coronavirus recently, there's been a lot of attacks on Asian communities, especially in America, I think. And I think I often say I love to make a positive from a negative, and I think that it would be good if, obviously this is a really sad incident, but as I say, making positive from a negative, it would be great to see African and Asian communities or Black and Asian people. It would be great to see it bring such communities together, like African Americans and Asians suffer discrimination. So hopefully that will bring them together, so it will have a positive effect in a way. Although obviously, as I say, from a negative situation, a positive hopefully can be made. Hopefully that made sense. But hopefully it'll bring different minorities together to help each other, so they can help each other with training and business and come together more. 29, I'd love to see people of colour around the world, especially my fellow mixed race people, my fellow mutts as I call us, supporting indigenous people from Africa and Australasia, especially in things like politics, tech, and things like that. And number 30, by year 2030, I'd love to see as many Indigenous Australasians in politics, in the law, as judges, solicitors, lawyers, barristers, legal teams, like having legal representation, having a voice internationally, and that sort of thing. And I have these quirky dreams like Indigenous Australasians having 10% of all property or land ownership, perhaps, or answering all like tax revenues being spent, like 10% of tax revenues being spent on improving Indigenous Australasian communities, helping them with tech training and setting up their own YouTube accounts, YouTube channels, and TikTok videos and things like that, or TikTok channels and things like that. So, as ever, I'd love to hear what you think, and I think that's enough of me waffling. And please let me know what sort of groups you would love to support and what your ideas for supporting disadvantaged people like disabled or homeless or other such disadvantaged communities would be. And I'm out. Peace and love.